or helping students shine. It's all here in Student Spotlight.
Hi everyone, and thanks so much for joining us for this edition of Student Spotlight. I'm Maria Silva. We have a lot to share with you in the next half hour. Tag along as Superintendent Dr. Jesus Jara surprises students with the Superintendent's Reading Award. Then, the Vegas PBS media crew takes us inside Project 150 to learn how this nonprofit helps students. Plus, learning lacrosse with some help from the professionals. And a one-on-one interview with new District F School Board Trustee Irene Bustamante Adams by a student in her own district. But first, a first for Liberty High School, an art exhibition that lays a foundation for an expanding arts program at that school. We got the chance to meet the student artist on opening day of the first annual Visual Arts Show.
We are in the Liberty High School library where we are showcasing all of our visual arts students. It's from 5 different teachers, probably 8 or 9 different subject areas like painting, drawing, ceramics, photography, and so forth. So we're excited to show off all their talents.
My family is very proud that I'm going to be in an exhibition.
Now it's their big moment, right? It's their championship tonight. So now we are going to put everything on display for the public to see.
We told them just bring all your families and friends, so we're expecting a ton of people.
I am very excited. It's something I didn't think would happen at Liberty. Before this, photography students weren't very shown around at Liberty.
The public perception of Liberty is usually centered around athletics, right? With what we're seeing here with this phenomenal talent that we're showcasing this evening, now you kind of see that when the principal of Liberty says, hey, you know, although we're proud of our athletic success, but we also do some other things really, really well, this is evidence to that end.
And this one is in Fort Bayard in New Mexico. I took photography 1 as a sophomore, but we really didn't have like a teacher to teach us. So I practiced out of school. And
Ms. Pavicic has definitely come to Liberty and changed the photography program for the better.
She helps us do our best and puts us into like these contests, for example, like the Scholastic Arts.
I like taking pictures of people I know I'm comfortable with. My friend Alex says she's a lot of the pictures of who I have up. I don't know, I think they're some of the best I've taken so far and the ones I've had. I think art's important because it lets students express themselves in other ways than, you know, their reading and writing.
And I feel like art is one way to bring people together and being able to actually form connections with other human beings.
There's a good student art community happening now, and that will expand also just from these shows happening. We wanted a night dedicated to the arts, so we made one, and it was a lot of hard work, and we're super excited and super proud.
Opening night featured a potluck dinner, orchestra performances, and a strong sense of community. Student artists at Liberty are already looking forward to next year's event. Very talented students. Well, recognizing improvement is so very important. District leaders use data from the recent MAP growth assessment for reading to identify 3 fifth-grade students who showed the biggest gains in the entire school district. Those students and their teachers got a big surprise when CCSD Superintendent Dr. Jesus Jara showed up in their classrooms. Now, we tagged along with Dr. Jara as he hand-delivered the Superintendent's Reading Awards. First stop, Dickens Elementary.
What's going on over here?
Today we received a surprise visit from our superintendent.
You know what, the superintendent, it's like the principal of principals, right? Like your principal, Ms. King, is in charge of the school. Well, I'm in charge of all the schools, right? But I have a great team. So you are here at
Dickens Elementary.
Dickens Elementary School, and you are in the 5th grade, right?
Yeah.
One of my students, Neymar, did show the highest growth in his MAPS testing in the whole school district, so that's pretty amazing.
So this morning you were surprised in your class because of your reading. You made some really good gains in your reading assessment. I'm so proud of you.
The MAP assessment is an assessment that students take 4 times a year to measure their growth in math and reading.
It is very important, particularly because we know that our kids have come back to school with gaps. It is so important to have that information so that we can provide real-time intervention for students.
They give me I can't say it right, certificate.
Then you have a great teacher.
On top of the paper and put it in the water.
Cassandra Pash is the granddaughter of Dusty Dickens, our namesake. We are so proud of Miss Pash. She is actually a first-year teacher, and it has just been so wonderful to see her grow and just see the results of her hard work with her students.
Neymar, he's just a pretty amazing kid. He has just been so focused on just understanding more, just showing that he is working hard and being an amazing student.
Listen, I am very proud of you. I know your mom and dad are so proud of you too.
Estoy muy contenta por Neymar, por el avance que está trayendo y la alegría que está dando para nosotros ahorita.
It was just so great to see the smile on his face this morning and how proud his parents were, but it's just indicative of the hard work that he's put in, and it's just so great to see him be recognized and rewarded for that.
It was all Neymar. It was all him. He's gonna go a lot of places in life based off of just the dedication he has at just such a young age.
Keep up the good work. Okay, thank you. High five.
What a great visit. Congratulations, Neymar. Well done.
We also want to give a big shout out to the two other award winners, Nyasia, who recently transferred to C.T. Sewell Elementary, and Amelia, a 5th grader at Joshua Stevens Elementary School.
You can watch their surprise visits on the Student Spotlight page of the Vegas PBS website, vegaspbs.org. Congratulations to all of these talented students. Now let's head to the Northwest Korean Technical Academy for our very first news break.
Hi, I'm Dominique, and I'm from Northwest Korean Technical Academy.
And I'm Ziana. We're here in the Hawk Media Group studios with your first news break.
District leaders launched a new tool. It allows the public to look at all kinds of data for every CCSD school. It's called the District Overview, an online data dashboard that breaks down information like enrollment, attendance, behavior, and any other performance measures. The new page provides transparency and quick access to data about the state of education in the Clark County School District. You can find this new resource at data.ccsd.net.
Speaking of resources, if you need some help with your homework, don't forget about Paper. Paper is a free, on-demand virtual tutoring service available to all CCSD students. Students like us can get one-on-one help in any subject 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It's easy to try. Access Paper by using your online Clever account.
That's all we got right now, but a little bit later, a few of my classmates will come back and talk a little bit more about our school.
But for now, let's send it back to the Vegas PBS studios and Maria.
Thank you so much for that news break. Well, the Clark County School District works with many community partners to help students succeed. One of those partners is a nonprofit called Project 150. EJ from the Vegas PBS Media Crew is in studio right now with that story and so much more. Hi, EJ.
Hi, Maria. I'm part of the Vegas PBS Media Crew, a crew of former and current CCSD students who produce special content for teens. We wanted to learn more about Project 150, a nonprofit that provides support for homeless, displaced, and disadvantaged high school students so they can remain in school and graduate. Here's Adam with more.
So how did you come across Project 150?
Back when I was in high school here at Western High School in Las Vegas, I was in a dual enrollment program with CSN where I was exposed to college level courses, and they introduced us to Senia.
As the programs manager at Project 150, I handle the different programs that we offer, so the workshops, the Betty's Boutique, and the scholarship program that we have here, providing those free resources to our high school students and current college students.
So how does the application process work for these scholarships?
So we have now grown with the times, and we are electronic based.
But a lot of kids are grateful for an easy scholarship process.
I hope we are the easiest.
It was very straightforward. Questions were very clear, and you just go straight through it. One of the biggest difficulties of trying to go to college is being able to pay for it, right? As soon as I heard, I was very thrilled to be able to know that I can start my college journey.
Right, absolutely. I know that's a struggle for a lot of people in scholarships like this that are nice and easy to go through and are always a blessing, for those people.
Absolutely.
So,
yeah.
How do you think that your scholarship program may stand out from some others in the Valley?
We not only just help them their freshman year, we want to see them graduate. So we've seen nonstop graduates from the beginning, and it's something that we're grateful for and able to be a part of their journey.
Well, what's your favorite part about being able to work here, be able to to work with these students?
So I've been here for 7 years now, and it never felt, it was just being able to connect with the students. I believe Jacob, the one that you guys interviewed, he just having to be able to relate to them and connect with them. Building that relationship is really important to me, not only with our donors, but with our students, because a lot of times some of these students don't have someone to be there to support them, to say you can do it. And so that's the best part about working here at Project 150 is we're making sure we're right there along the way as the students are going through their life.
Thanks, Adam. The first annual National Civic Learning Week was last month, and CCSD teachers and students from across the district participated in this national initiative. There were lessons and activities to promote and celebrate civic learning and engagement. The hope is to help build stronger, more resilient communities and create a more vibrant democracy. Now, to a big competition for students involved in the Distributive Education Clubs of America, more commonly known as DECA. DECA is a career technical student organization that prepares future leaders and entrepreneurs for careers in marketing, finance, hospitality, and management. We stopped by the state DECA conference to talk to students on El Dorado's team.
Welcome to Nevada DECA SCDC 23. This is our annual State Career Development Conference. My name is Wendy Menchu-Lopez. I am the Associate State Director for the organization, and I'm excited to share that we are welcoming over 800 conference attendees, which includes students, advisors, as well as business professionals who are here today to judge our events.
I kind of find leadership as a way to make a difference and to make an impact. So it's not really like a dictatorial, like you do this, but for me it's more so, let's all do this together and let me help you and guide you towards these like successes.
Leadership in this competition really means getting up in the morning, man, because it's hard, but just getting up, getting ready, being prepared, being confident. Even if you're not confident, fake the confidence, because that's the only thing you can do.
So some of the leadership that I used here is like leading some of my teammates around, like telling them like what they should do or what they should like say like over here during these interviews.
We did virtual business. They're like little games, and I helped my team take first place in state. And although it was a little difficult, I tried to lead my friends and my group in the best way possible, showing them how to do the financing and everything. It was a little difficult, but that's how.
Leadership means to step up to the plate when no one else is there or no one else wants to, and just take control. Just lead everybody to success.
I know I was one of the first people to go do the competitions earlier for sports and entertainment, my fault. And I didn't really know what to expect, so when I see my other teammates come in here, I gave them the rundown on what they needed to do or just little tips and tricks.
That was all him. I just listened to what he said. That was all him. He's the leader.
Congrats to all the students involved. We'll be back at the end of the show with our segment and our opinion. But for now, let's send it back to Maria.
Great job as always. Thank you so much, EJ. Well, the Clark County School District Board of Trustees has 2 new members. Ellie Lacados from Southwest Career and Technical Academy recently sat down with the new trustee in her very own district to learn more about what District F trustee Irene Bustamante Adams hopes to accomplish during her term.
Thank you, Ms. Bustamante Adams, for joining us. And I would like to start with my first question. What is the focus or biggest change you are hoping to make while in office?
Ellie, thank you for having me. The biggest focus that I want to concentrate on is restoring the confidence back into the Clark County School District Board. During my campaign, realized that parents, teachers, students, community stakeholders have lost confidence in the ability to focus on student outcomes, and I think that my experience in my leadership roles, I know that the leadership roles that I've had in the past will be able to add value to that.
And what would you highlight as the issue you are hoping to address in your term?
Where I can add value is really in building community partnerships. In my last 2.5 months being a school board trustee, I realized that addressing our student issues is a community challenge, and that we need all stakeholders, especially the business community, to focus on the biggest challenge, and one of those is student outcomes.
And What was your inspiration behind becoming a school board trustee, and how would you say this affects your term?
It's twofold. It was a personal tragedy, the loss of a brother-in-law on his day of his retirement date, and hearing of all the things that he did for youth and how he served the community. And so it made me look at what can I still do while I'm still here on this earth? What other gifts can I bring forth in order to serve others? And then the other one is my grandson. He was 2 at the time when I entered the race, and I want to be part of the solution instead of being on the sideline to be complaining. I want to add value and be part of the solution.
Wow, that is indeed very motivational. And then my next question will be, how are you planning to use this new position to benefit the community and specifically District F?
Well, District F is amazing. I have all the way from Spring Valley to Sandy Valley, which is like an hour away outside of Las Vegas. So the whole plethora of amazing things that are happening in that area just inspires me. And what I see the biggest need is that connection between the amazing things that you and other students are doing in the Clark County School District. Make that connection. Like today, the people that you got to meet, connecting them with mentors, employers that want you, keeping kids here in Southern Nevada. So it's connecting that education, the workforce, and economic development.
Well, I am indeed grateful for the opportunity, I agree. And I would also like to add, why do you believe that CCSD trustees are crucial to the community?
Well, they are one of the community stakeholders in this to make this region work. So it's just not the educators, it's just not the economic development and the employers that we're bringing to this region, these amazing companies, but it's the connection of education, workforce, and economic development. And that's why trustees are so critical, because we are addressing the policy and the finances of where to invest our money for the students. And then also we're the student voice in this collective region of where we want to draw the talent and for what they want to become.
Well, thank you, Ms. Bustamante Adams, for joining us today.
That was a wonderful interview. Thank you so much, Ellie and Trustee Bustamante Adams. You can learn more about all of the CCSD Board of Trustees on ccsd.net. Now let's go back to Northwest Korean Technical Academy for our second news break.
Hello, I'm Chloe, here at Northwest Korean Technical Academy. We're here in our control room with HMG News.
I'm Fernando, and we're back with our second news break. This one's all about our school as a Korean Technical Academy.
We have a lot of hands-on opportunity known as programs at our school. My personal favorite is our construction program.
Hey Chloe, aren't you in construction? That's a little biased if you ask me.
Yes, I'm in construction and I'm a little biased, but never mind that. Let's show you the shop.
So the shop is a lot of different tools and workstations that people can work at. It's a wide variety of projects that can be done in this shop.
Man, I love this class. Seeing everyone's creativity, designs, and execution is really inspiring.
Wow, you guys have some cool projects. But now let's take a look at our cool projects in beer production.
Here at the studio, we have designated jobs we've chosen. Most of the class is student-led, from creating to scheduling to communication.
However, we cannot take all the credit. Our teacher, Ms. McLean, has worked at Northwest growing the beer production program for 5 years.
She focuses on getting her students ample opportunities and educating us well enough to be field and job ready. Thank you for taking your time to get to know 2 of our beloved programs here at Northwest.
We offer many different programs and over 60 clubs, so make sure to check us out and see what we do in our community.
Now we'll send it back to Maria at the Vegas PBS studio.
Thank you so much for letting us know more about your school. Great job. Well, it is a sport that is gaining popularity across our valley. Students at 10 CCSD schools are learning lacrosse from members of Las Vegas's very first professional lacrosse team. Now, we stopped by Johnson Junior High School with the Las Vegas Desert Dogs to see what the excitement is all about.
We're here at Johnson Junior High School in the gym, and we are working with Desert Dogs, the professional lacrosse team here in Las Vegas. And we're super excited to have them on campus here, working with our kids with a sport that many of them don't even know what it is.
I felt a little nervous because I'm not really that good at sports. But once I started getting going, like, oh, I can do this. This is easy. I can do this.
My name is Eric Turner. I play lacrosse for the Las Vegas Desert Dogs, and I'm a transition player. Lacrosse is pretty new to Las Vegas, and the opportunity to introduce it to a bunch of students that may not have access to the game and have maybe never seen the game is just a great way for us to share the sport.
It was really fun, especially learning the mechanics and how to carry a stick and balance the ball in it correctly. So, like a little guide to learning the sport.
It was absolutely amazing. I didn't really think I'd be able to play with professionals, let alone a team that plays for Las Vegas, Nevada, whatever.
We've done a really good job of getting into the community in situations like this and doing various camps and clinics.
We took a number of initiatives, giving pennies to all youth players that had the Desert Dogs logo on them, donating physical goals to fields, parks and rec, lacrosse clubs throughout Las Vegas, and then our sticks donation program, donating 500 sticks to Clark County Public Schools, 10 different elementary or middle schools to begin a pilot program to bring lacrosse to the PE curriculum here in Clark County.
I'm hoping they take away that physical activity, things like that to improve a healthy lifestyle can be done and accomplished through other things other than running or healthy eating things, stuff like that.
1, 2, 3, Desert Dogs!
How cool is that? Well, the Desert Dogs will continue working with PE students at the 10 pilot schools to help build their lacrosse skills and their confidence. The hope is to expand the number of schools and students in the near future. Well, that does it for this edition of Student Spotlight. A reminder that you can watch this episode and past episodes on the Vegas PBS website. Stay tuned for In Our Opinion from the Vegas PBS media crew. Thank you so much for watching.
Hi, I'm Adam, reporting here from Vegas PBS. This has clearly been a big month for student leadership. Because of this, we want to go talk to students and staff with the Student Council at Desert Pines High School to get their opinions on teen leadership, the stigma around it, and where it can go from here. Let's go take a look. So you said you would lead a student council, right? So what does that usually entail with student council?
It could be anything, any day. Really what I try to do with my class is we have about 50 kids. I say it's student ran. My president comes in daily. She tells me what's going to happen, and I say, okay, let's make it work.
So do you think that being in this position has helped kind of give you some leadership skills?
Yeah, definitely. I learned to be more responsible with my time. And I know last year I really wasn't the good student, I guess you could say, but student council and this leadership role really has helped me improve.
So do you think that students should be trusted in more leadership positions?
I feel like they should. Like I said, I feel like the trust has to be earned and throughout time with the teacher and build a relationship, and then later on I feel like they can be trusted.
Do you think that adults tend to trust the teenagers in more controlling positions?
Not really. I mean, maybe some, but I think they underestimate teens a lot.
If you could try to push adults to be able to kind of fully understand that, how do you think we could do that to try to put that across to them?
I think just talking to them, communication.
So I think that there tends to be a stigma with teenagers that they're lazy or don't want to put in the work or whatever. Do you think that teens do want to be in more leadership positions, or do you think the stigma is right or wrong? What are your thoughts on that?
I think when teens most teens, when they have the opportunity, they do, but they kind of need that push.
So would you say that overall, like teenagers, they want these opportunities, just they kind of need to be pushed for that? Would you say that's true?
Very much so, yes. They want the possibilities, and then they also need access to making that happen.
Do you, being in leadership roles, have helped you outside your life? Do you think that translates to even currently outside of school?
Yeah, I do feel like this leadership role has helped me outside of school as well. I feel like I'm more positive now, so I look on the brighter side. Like I've learned while planning events, I feel like instead of thinking negative when something doesn't go right, I look at the positive side and how to fix things instead.
I think, I don't know, I just want to be different so bad. But I think, I don't know, I just like big roles, and I like helping the community and being there for people.
I'm inspired every time I come to work because, like I said, when I come in, I know I got my e-board at the door. Hey, how are we going to make something happen today? And I think that our kids, the future of however we look at this, is going to be in good hands because they see their community and they're using those words. I didn't use those words until I was in college, you know, and they're in high school having that conversation. So I think there's something powerful going on with this generation, and I'm hoping we can tap into it and maximize it.
Thank you, Chloe, Evelyn, and Mr. Gregor for sharing your thoughts. We wanted to hear more students' thoughts on this from around the district. So for the first time, let's toss it to the satellite crew to see what students at their schools have to say. Thanks, guys.
Do you feel teens should occupy more leadership roles?
I feel like teens should occupy more leadership roles because a lot of aspects of today's society affect teens on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, students do want to be in leadership positions. I'm sure that a lot of students like to lead.
So do you think teenagers can be trusted in these leadership roles?
Oh yes, I think a lot of times I've had to experience adults tend to underestimate your abilities or skills.
Everyone is going to have to use leadership as soon as they get out of high school, whatever they do, they're going to end up, even if they're not a boss, they're going to end up using leadership in their life.
For me, it really helped find out who I was and who I am really to this day, that I can be a leader and that I can show people what to do and what I really want to do.
And so for my message to teen leaders out there is that the sky's really the limit. You have what it takes to be a leader, and you are the only thing that's stopping you.
I'm President Garcia Morales, and I call this regular board meeting of July 13th to order. The time is 5:02 p.m. I'd like to remind everyone to please silence their cell phones and electronic devices. And we'd like to begin by acknowledging the land on which we gather, which is territorial homelands of the Nuwu, the Mawapa Band of Paiutes, and the Las Vegas Band of Paiutes. The Pledge of Allegiance is going to be led by Trustee Guzman. Trustee Guzman. Trustee Cavazos will make, moving on to item 1.02, the adoption of the agenda. Trustee Cavazos will make the motion to approve the agenda. Trustee Cavazos.
Thank you, Madam President, and members of the board. I would like to make a motion to adopt the agenda as presented.
Thank you, Trustee Cavazos. Trustee Williams.
I'll second.
Thank you, Trustee Williams. Colleagues, we have a motion by Trustee Cavazos, a second by Trustee Williams. Please cast your vote. Great, the motion passes 7-0. I want to take a moment to ask if council is on the line.
Hello, President. I'm here.
Thank you, council. Okay, everyone, we're going to move on to consent agenda. Before I move, officially open the consent agenda, is there anyone who has not completed either signed up in advance or completed a yellow public speaker card to speak on this item? Otherwise, please do so now. We'll begin with the individuals who called in advance. Mr. Bayless, followed by Kelly Edgar, followed by Autumn Tampa.
Hello, ladies of the board. James Bayless, Dr. Jara for the record. So I had a whole line of ideas I had wanted to say, but unfortunately a certain person brought my kryptonite, so I got to carefully craft my words. Because, yeah, so we'll go just with 2.7 first. I think we need a bird cage for the city because I think we just let a mockingbird out. If you look at the organization that's also attached to the bottom of that, that's our old news system. So we're paying out $900. And it's weird because Carol used to be on that grant last year, but she's not there no more. It must have been something I said. So on the other behalf, the energy thing, I like the idea that we're getting parking stuff for electric cars and stuff and for our new buses. And Ms. Morales, within that packet, I remember I told you I was looking into the $9.8 million that you guys got from the EPA and my buddy from the Treasury. We found out where it came from. We got an exact route. Armando Bustamante, Colorado, is where the 9.8 came from, EPA. Who do we know else has that last name? Ironically, it came right after I was trying to get that man arrested. It looks like we got somebody else on the board that has that last name. So with that being said, since we have the Las Vegas Global Alliance, we have obviously the EPA involved in our world. We have high banking and high business. That's pretty much the triple helix school industry that everybody says that doesn't exist. So I think we might want to readdress a lot of situations at hand and reappropriate money to where it belongs and not to private schools that we're not supposed to be chartering, because I believe in legislature they told you guys they weren't going to do it, so you shouldn't. I believe actually they said that they weren't going to give anybody the money for that. I believe was the exact wording, private schools and charter schools. And Jeff said CCSD shouldn't be funding them either. He's looking into that himself, so you guys might want to not be doing that. You guys have a good one.
Thank you, Mr. Bayless. Kelly Edgar, Autumn Tampa, and then Nicole Beer.
Dr. Jara, members of the board, Kelly Edgar for the record. Nedra Tawwab, licensed therapist and best-selling author, says, "Don't allow anyone to mistreat you, no matter who they are. No one has special privileges to treat you poorly. And when it comes to severing ties with people like that, she says, ask yourself this: is this relationship supportive of my values and what I want in my life? And when it comes to my 26-year relationship as an educator with CCSD, my answer would have to be no. One of the reasons many of my colleagues are leaving this district is lack of student and parent accountability because of one-size-fits-all restorative justice and behavior plans and grade reform policies that have stripped us of the ability to incentivize formative learning activities. We have seen an increase in aggressive student behavior towards teachers and staff, and classroom disruptions, which not only stifles our ability to teach effectively, but it disrupts learning for everybody. And then, of course, there's teacher pay. Veteran teachers have never received a cost of living raise that is actually commensurate with the cost of living. The couple of percentage points that we have received don't cut it when you factor in the number of times our pay has been frozen, the skyrocketing cost of our healthcare premiums, and the increased contribution we have going to PERS. Now, the Nevada legislature has given you an opportunity to right many of these wrongs, but instead, you're prioritizing administrative politics, biting the hands that quite
what item are
literally
you speaking to?
2.08 teacher retention. Biting the hands that quite literally feed you will not attract more educators to CCSD. It will perpetuate the teacher shortage, the mass exodus of students and teachers to charter and private schools, and also the decline in student achievement. Now, Dr. Jara, I understand that you were an athletic trainer for 2 years prior to going into education, and the Board of Trustees, 2 of you have backgrounds in education. I appreciate the diversity that we have. I really do. But it tells me that CCSD educators and students are suffering the consequences of decisions made by people who have not only never taught before, but are completely out of touch with the reality of what it's like to be a teacher, especially a teacher in 2023. Please listen to those of us who are in the trenches doing the work. If you want to attract more educators to CCSD, then listen to the ones who are doing it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Edgar. Ms. Tampa?
Autumn Tampa speaking as an individual. Focus 2024 has some very positive and ambitious goals, but then COVID-19 hit. Everything at CCSD, the United States, and in the world was turned upside down and inside out. CCSD was negatively impacted by a world pandemic and all the politics that came into play. I am grateful for and applaud how the board, Superintendent Jara, and CCSD handled this unexpected crisis. After working for CCSD for 25 years, I can say that many of the problems today are many of the same problems that existed when I started, and many political actions taken by our legislature have made it extremely difficult for any superintendent or board to implement what they believe is for the greater good of CCSD and the children. I am appreciative and am cautiously optimistic when looking at page 5 of the update, which includes increase the percentage of critical labor shortage support professionals hired, implement a targeted recruitment plan focused on qualified applicants for the critical labor shortage, develop and implement career pathways for support professionals. I hope CCSD reaches out to ESCA for help with these goals. I believe that in order to increase retention and recruitment and to create and sustain a positive working and learning environment, some things need to change. For me, first and foremost, it is that principals and administrators need to show education support professionals the respect they deserve. They need to show appreciation and that ESPs are valued. Money and raises are important. However, to show that someone is respected and valued, administrators need to honor the contract, especially with responsibility pay. They need to communicate honestly and respectfully. They need to ask ESPs for their help on input on schedules and other aspects of their jobs. Principals need to realize that all employees, including education support professionals, are human beings with lives outside CCSD, with gifts and talents, and with feelings and opinions, not just servants to be commanded. Expectations need to be reasonable and communicated in a professional and accurate way. Walking time from one side of a campus to another cannot be estimated at 0 minutes. And admin need to stop bullying and abusing their authority and being petty and vindictive. And employees should not be written up for asking for safety protocols. Specialized program teacher assistants have one of the most challenging positions at CCSD. This critical shortage impacts every classroom at CCSD and instructional assistants and others who have to fill in to meet the legal, academic, and emotional needs of our special needs children. Responsibility pay needs to be paid. All ESBs need to be given cost of living raises every year with other raises along the way, such as longevity. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Tampa. Nicole Beer. Ernest, thank you. Ernest Mackey. After Ernest, I've got Vicky Cridell. I believe Ernest is back there. Just Ms. Cridell, allow me just one moment. I believe Mr. Ernest is on his way up. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Welcome.
For the record, my name is Ernest Mackey. Been up here several times addressing this board about targeting kids at the school. I received an email approximately 3 weeks ago, last time I was here. I received an email saying that you all had looked into the matter, Mr. Jar, principal at Las Vegas High School as well, and everybody, even Joe, who's right up under Mr. Jar, everybody responded to it. They all on that list looking at the emails. The issue is still going. They have addressed it again. I support these teachers as well. I don't have an issue with teachers. It's your system. We're coming down from the top down to the bottom, and they don't appreciate it either. But I'm gonna say this, coming at my kids again. You got your teachers coming at my kids, telling the other kids, the wrong people to hang with, don't hang around my kids. That's bullying. It's targeting my kids also. It's also
Mr.
harassing.
Murphy, what item are you speaking to?
I'm speaking to the board. I can look anywhere you want to.
Forgive me, I meant the
Thank you.
agenda. What item are you speaking to with respect to the agenda? That right now we're on consent?
2.16, but 2.16, because I want to bring up St. Joe's. All this money going out for these programs in private schools. I thought St. Joe's is up under Swanners, Masons. Why are we sending money there? Why are we sending all that money? Why can't we use that program money for programs for the schools? You have leadership programs for Latinos, Caucasians. Where's the Afro-American youth leadership programs at in Las Vegas High School? Why you don't have a 5-year program for that? Why do you have the teachers coming at the kids when they raise up these issues and they get knocked down by the teachers and the staff higher up? School superintendents as well. There's a lot of things need to be looked into. Like the young man said earlier, Mr. James, all this money going out. I thought you all was just the board for the city of Nevada for a minute there. All this money going out to entities and organizations and other programs instead of helping these kids at the schools. We need to look into a lot of this. And I'm trying to hold back a lot. But you need to step into this issue with my kids and find out how to resolve it. I got an email saying it was resolved. No one got back with me. No one.
Thank you, Mr. Mackey. We've got Ms. Cridell, and you're up next. And to be clear, there is no item on our agenda that has to do with private schools.
Good evening. Vicki Kreidel, for the record. I'm president of NEA of Southern Nevada, and I'm a reading teacher at Lomichi Herd Magnet. I've stood before you for years speaking to the need to focus on educator retention. This is about 2.08. I understand why we still recruit, but prior to COVID, teacher credential programs were reporting 45% less applicants. All over the country, the teacher pipeline is drying up. The reasons are complicated, but they focus on pay that's too low for the requirements of the job, risks required, workloads that are unreasonable, and hostile school cultures. It does little good to invest in recruiting when we know many of these educators will not stay. The issues educators face in this district cannot be ignored. The fact that very few educators will come to speak to you about some of the issues because they're worried about retaliation says a lot. Some schools are so toxic that administrators find ways to block educators from transferring to a different school. Why would you block people from leaving your school if not to try to just get them to leave CCEA or CCSD? I'm sorry. It's mind-boggling. As recently as yesterday, I've spoken to multiple teachers who are interviewing for jobs outside of this country. I can't, with a good conscience, ask them to try and stick it out anymore because there's no indication that CCSD is doing anything to correct some of the retention issues. And without actively working to address retention, nothing will change, which means CCSD will continue to lose educators at a faster rate than ever before. It used to be that any of us could be easily replaced. That's not the case anymore, is it? Fixing the reasons that educators are leaving CCSD should be the top priority. If you don't address it, then our teacher shortage will become a crisis that ends up closing some of our schools.
Thank you, Ms. Kreidel. We don't have any additional yellow cards at this time. Colleagues, I am looking for a motion to accept the consent agenda. Trustee Brooks?
Thank you, Madam President. I move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Thank you, Trustee Brooks. Trustee Cavazos?
Thank you, Madam President. I would like to second Trustee Brooks's motion, but I'd also like to make an additional statement that we understand that people are very concerned about some of the items that were spoken on today that are in the consent agenda that are not pulled for separate discussion, and assure you that the board and the superintendent are working very hard on these things, and we understand that people sometimes are upset about it being one single vote, but I would like to still second the motion made by Trustee Brooks.
Thank you, Trustee Cavazos. Colleagues, we have a motion by Trustee Brooks and a second by Trustee Cavazos. Please cast your vote. Thank you. We're going to move on to 3.01, Notice of Intent, Clark County School District Policy 6161. Ms. Craner, welcome. Oh, forgive me. Thank you for coming up, but I missed the warrants. Thank you, Trustee Guzman. Trustee Bustamante Adams, can you please speak? Can I please speak? Can you please share the warrants?
Thank you, Madam President. Ratified warrants as listed in the bills payable transmittal and board memorandum number 01-23-24 in the total amount of $171,838,484.13.
Thank you, Trustee Bustamante Adams. Now, before I officially open item 3.01, I'd like to make sure that I ask for yellow public speaker cards. This is the time to submit one in the event. Yes, ma'am. Please share your name. We have you for item 4.01. No, we're almost there. Okay, we're at 3.01. Yes. I see, yes, we have you. Thank you so much. We're going to go ahead and conduct the presentation and then open it up to public comment. Okay, anything else? Great, thank you. Ms. Craner, welcome.
Madam President, members of the board, Superintendent Jara. For the record, Elena Kreiner-Wilson, Assistant Superintendent of the Curriculum and Instruction Division. Today, I am here to provide a notice of intent to amend Clark County School District Policy 6161, titled School Libraries. An update to Policy 6161 is being requested to support ensuring that all school libraries within the Clark County School District are staffed with a certified teacher librarian. The reference material for item 3.01, Notice of Intent, Clark County School District Policy 6161, outlines the deletion and addition to the policy. Addition of a period at the end of the following sentence. An effective school library includes a certified teacher librarian in Section 1. Deletion of, and when a certified teacher librarian is not available, a licensed teacher designee can be temporarily assigned as per regulation in Section 1. Again, these changes will require that all CCSD school libraries be staffed with a certified teacher librarian. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Craner. Colleagues, did we go to public comment? Is that okay? All right, we're going to start with the individuals who signed up in advance. It appears we have nobody who signed up in advance, but we do have yellow cards for this item. So in order of the way that they were submitted, Robin Carpenter, Glenda Albertini, and Christine Murch. And if I mispronounce your name, apologies in advance. Please correct it for the record.
Mine was easy. Good evening. My name is Robin Carpenter. I am a certified teacher librarian in CCSD, a part-time instructor in RPDP's librarian certification program, and a past president of the Clark County School Librarians Association. And I'm here tonight to speak on item 3.01 in support of the proposed change to Policy 6161. When Policy 6161 first went into effect, Dr. Jara and the board, including former trustee Garvey, recognized that school libraries should be an integral part of every K-12 CCSD school and that every school should have an effective school library. However, this followed many years where administrators had eliminated school libraries and certified teacher school librarian positions. And so there were suddenly a lot of open positions available and not enough certified teacher librarians to fill them. So an exception was made to allow classroom teachers to fill those positions with the requirement that they obtain their library media license within 3 years. But there's no longer a need for this exception. RPDP has graduated many, many teachers in the years since Policy 6161's advent who are now licensed library media specialists. And the policy as currently written has had an unintended consequence whereby teachers who are already certified and in many cases have years of experience in school libraries are being passed over for open library positions in favor of unlicensed, inexperienced teachers who are hired perhaps because they are simply already on the school staff or they're familiar to the hiring administrator. And this is not what's best for us. Our students deserve to have the most knowledgeable, most experienced teachers available in every curricular area, whether it's the math classroom or the library. Before becoming a librarian, I was an ELA teacher for 10 years. I could technically have taught math up to 6th grade, but you would not have wanted me as a math teacher. I would have gotten it eventually, but those students in that math classroom would not have had the best teacher for those years while I was kind of getting up to speed. So the proposed change to Policy 6161 will ensure that students have the best, most effective service and instruction in library standards in the library every single year.
Thank you. Glenda? Welcome.
Sorry about that delay. My name is Glenda Alberti. I am also a certified teacher librarian in CCSD. I'm also an instructor for the RPDP program where we're training teachers to become librarians. And I'm also the current president of the Clark County School Librarians Association. And I'm just here to support what Robin just said and to further encourage that this change be made. If you look at the agenda, it says priority 1 is student success, and this change is in the interest of student success. I can just give my school as a little example. I am in a school where there was no librarian for about 6 years until I got there 2 years ago. And our class of 2023 graduation rate is an all-time high for this school at 95.96%. Of course, I'm not taking full credit for that, but I like to think that having a strong licensed certified librarian in the library is certainly helping to support those gains. And our enrollment in AP classes has increased by 25%. Our enrollment in honors courses has increased by 46%. And again, I am not responsible for all of that, but I am there to support them in finding information, learning how to navigate information on the web, learning how to research, learning how to be successful in those honors and AP classes. So thank you for your time.
Thank you. Christiane?
Good evening. My name is Christiane Marsh. I'm a private Christian teacher and also ESL teacher in my community. I'm here representing District F. I have a lot of family members attend CSD. That's why I'm here. We are concerned about the policy 6161 regarding the vague, and it's very broad. So it permits the library staff and the ability to introduce whatever materials they think is appropriate. Section 2 doesn't define what is diverse and inclusive. Section 4 doesn't specify who should determine what is curated, which means the selection of books and what topics are appropriate. Section 5, again, doesn't define what resources are available or who gets to decide what those resources are. Section 6 uses the words safe and effective, but those terms are not defined, nor is clear who determines what is safe or not, and should clarify and should be transparent to us in these materials. Must be age appropriate to ensure they're safe. Again, it should list exceptions, especially after the discovery of inappropriate books that has led the concern of parents across this nation. So we just want a transparency. Thank you.
Thank you. Colleagues, at this time, we no longer have public comment on 3.01. Are there any questions? Oh, forgive me, I see Dr. Jara is in the queue. Turn it over to him before we go to discussion.
Madam President, members of the board, I just wanted to brief comment and thank our two speakers who have been instrumental in this policy. I remember they came, and Nicole Beer as well, 4 years ago with Trustee Garvey, or maybe 5 years ago, and showed the data. Many schools didn't have librarians, and so this partnership has been well received, and we meet regularly when there's issues addressed, and I know our curriculum team does a great job in supporting them. So I think it's with RPDP and the team with a plethora of librarians available to take jobs. So this has been a great partnership. So just want to let the board know that. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Dara. We're grateful for your leadership and service. Trustee Williams.
Thank you, Madam President. Thank you, Dr. Dara, for that. Thank you for the speakers, because I think that what you said is really important. I remember coming on the board in 2020, and this was Trustee Garvey's pride and joy, and I thought it was such a great policy back then. I do get concerned as I've dove deeper into these policies that it is really vague. I think that we should have transparency, and also it should be very specific. What, like some questions that I have. Ms. Wilson, who will be on these advisory councils when the materials are challenged, who's the final say, what do these annual reviews look like, and where are the materials being sourced. Now, I know that these questions aren't really even for you. These are more just kind of questions that I have in my own brains, people that have actually asked me questions too, because where we look at the current historical data, where it's being sourced, what's being talked about, what's not being talked about, when we have AB 469 and principals have autonomy over their schools and have the rights to, bring books in and out of it, anything like that. Librarians have that. Now, I agree that we should have more librarian certified teachers in the school because it's helpful. It's helpful to have those more resources available. However, this is pre-K through 12, and sometimes I get concerned with the language that we put in there. Now, I know that it's vague for a reason so that we can actually make it kind of wide and inclusive to everybody, but what does that mean even at that point? And that's where I get concerned as a parent who has a 7-year-old sitting in the crowd that goes to the library all the time, has gotten in trouble because she's left class for too long and gone to the library. So I know what that's like as a parent and then as a trustee who tries to be as objective as possible in these situations, knowing that not every student gets the opportunity to do what my daughter gets to, or not every student gets the opportunity to go get books that can teach them about themselves or teach them about their cultures or teach them about things that they would never learn at home. So that's kind of where my thought processes are. I'm not super supportive of the concept that it's just not specific enough for me. So those are my only comments. I don't know if you want to expand on those, you can. I just more so those were rhetorical questions for myself.
Thank you, Trustee Williams. Trustee Guzman?
Thank you, President Garcia Morales. I just want to ask a clarifying question. This policy has been in place for how long? Do we know for sure?
Madam President, members of the board, Superintendent Jara, Trustee Guzman, thank you for the question. The policy was last revised in 2020, but it has been in place since 1963.
Thank you very much. Also, the only change, so this policy has been in place, so it's already been implemented. The only change is that we are ensuring that there be a certified librarian that handles our libraries. Is that what I'm hearing you say?
Madam President, members of the board, Superintendent Jara, Trustee Guzman, thank you for the question. Yes.
Okay, so the only vote is that we're just changing that verbiage. Everything else stays the same.
Madam President, members of the board, Superintendent Jara, Trustee Guzman, yes, this is the notice of intent today to just bring it up as a possible discussion item. There will be further action at a following board meeting for a vote.
Thank you. That's all I needed to ask.
Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Guzman. Trustee Cavazos?
Thank you, Madam President, and as usual, Trustee Guzman took part of my question there. So basically, just ensuring that there is a certified teacher librarian there and deleting the verbiage that says that it can be another teacher or somebody that's put in there, correct?
Madam President, members of the board, Superintendent Jara, Trustee Cavazos, correct.
Okay. I just wanted to make, actually not a question, but just thank you for this, and also to thank our accomplished teacher librarians that are here, that are certified, and all the hard work that they have done there. I think that I speak for a lot of educators, former teachers and current teachers, that if not for our librarians, we probably would never have become educators. So we appreciate that work, and just want to thank you for that. And I also want to make a comment that I think that here too, that we need to show respect for the knowledge that our certified teacher librarians, their assistants, have in being able to look at the materials that are in our libraries and be able to look at the population in their schools and to give them the respect for the knowledge and training that they have to do their jobs. And that's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Cavazos. Trustee Brooks?
Thank you. So this is a notice of intent, so we should vote on this, and then it goes on the consent agenda next time, correct? Verified? Okay. I think it's only fair that all students have equal access to a librarian. That's a huge equity concern. When I actually went through this process with Trustee Garvey and learned that there were students who went all the way through their K through 12 experience not having a single librarian, that's appalling. That's a disservice. So with that, I would like to make a motion to approve this item.
Thank you, Trustee Brooks. Trustee Zamora?
I'll second that motion.
Thank you. Thank you, Trustee Zamora. Colleagues, we have a motion for item 3.01 by Trustee Brooks, a second by Trustee Zamora. Please cast your vote. Okay, colleagues, that motion passes 6 yay and 1 nay. That motion passes. Thank you very much. Thank you, Ms. Crainer. Appreciate your presentation. All right, we're going to move on to item 3.02. That's the adoption of the 2024 and 25 board meeting calendars. And this is an action item. Before I open item 3.01, is there anyone who has not completed a yellow public speaker card, however would like to do so? Please do so now. I don't have anyone who signed up in advance. However, I do have one yellow public speaker card for this item. Okay. All right, colleagues, we're going to move on to discussion and possible action of the calendars. This item was brought to us this item normally comes to us during a work session. However, because we did not have a July work session, and I've asked to bring this before you to this meeting. You'll see the calendar is an important component. Thank you for pulling it up. Calendar is an important component of our planning efforts, not just for us as trustees, especially for staff as they prepare for the upcoming year. And we typically would agree to a calendar that is 2 years in advance, so that it helps us all plan and prepare for these for our meetings. These items include on the board meeting calendars. That includes our work sessions, our regular meetings, and any special type meetings that we may have in advance. For example, and can we move over to 2025? Thank you. For example, with 2025, you see that there is an oath of office that will take place. That's typical of our after election cycles. And at this point in time, every month has a work session and 2 regular board meetings. I'd like my colleagues to reflect on these last couple of months. We have, especially July, June, the end of the school year. May seems to be a very heavy month for us as well because of graduation season. And then we have some lighter months like June and July, for example, that have less substantive content. That doesn't mean that the content can't change. However, in order to make our time meaningful and ensure that our public also comes to meetings where they can be responsive to items that are focused on student achievement and outcomes, we may want to consider what it would look like to potentially reduce some work session, condense some of these meetings, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on this item. Also, I want to point out, just for consideration, that we've also looked at the major conferences that have taken place so that we're not overlapping meeting dates with those conferences like NASB that takes place in November, this year actually in December. That date was recently moved, along with the Council of Great City Schools Conference, which I'm grateful to the team for looking out for those details. Okay. Colleagues, I'd love to entertain any discussion on this particular item, unless you'd like to hear public comment first. Public comment? All right. We've got Ms. Tampa? No, I'm in. Oh, that's okay. Do you want me to change this to something else? No, I just. Oh, okay. No worries. Love to have you up anytime. Come on up. I'll put this away for now. All right, colleagues, no discussion. We'll move straight into discussion. There is no public comment on this item. Thank you. Trustee Williams?
I'd like to make a motion to approve the 2 calendars.
Thank you, Trustee Williams. Trustee Guzman?
I'd like to second.
Okay. Thank you, Trustee Guzman. Colleagues, at this time, we have a motion by Trustee Williams, a second by Trustee Guzman. Please cast your vote. Okay. That motion, colleagues, passes 7-0. Thank you so much. And thank you to the team and staff for helping us ensure we have our meeting dates scheduled for the upcoming 2 years. Okay. All right, colleagues, we're going to move on to item 4.01. That's public comment on items not listed as action items on the agenda. This is the point in time where if someone in the public is new, I'd just like to point out that we are accepting yellow speaker cards before we officially open and take our first public speaker. We do have some individuals who signed up in advance and a couple of yellow cards. Okay, no more yellow cards at this time. We're going to move on to 4.01, Marquita Jones, Ms. Jones. Thank you, Mr. Bayless, followed by Mr. Bayless, and then Autumn Tampa. Welcome.
Hi, my name is Marquita Jones, and I'm here to talk about why is it that the kids have to be 5 by August 1st now to start kindergarten. My daughter completed the preschool program. So in my opinion, what are you saying about your preschool teachers that if the kid goes through the whole preschool program but they're not ready to move up to kindergarten because of their birthday? My daughter will be 5 years old, 21 school days after school start. Her preschool teacher said, don't bring her back to preschool. She's already did all of this. She's going to get bored. She already was getting bored toward the end of the school year because she knows the material. 21 days, and now she can't go to kindergarten. But let me give you some other numbers. Vegas is number 47 in education. It is in number 42 in school quality. But you do make the top of some lists. You make the top of the list for most dropouts. You make the top of the list for more students versus teachers. My son's teacher last year had 41 kids in her class. How could you get an education if a teacher is trying to calm down 41 students? Now, my son is 9 years old. 41 9-year-olds versus one teacher in his classroom. I am fighting to get my child into a failing school district, but you guys keep telling me every time I call, everywhere I go, that she can't go in because her birthday is 21 school days after your deadline. She completed preschool. So if your preschool teachers are actually teachers and not glorified babysitters, then she should be able to move forward in kindergarten. She already completed preschool. There's no need to complete the same course over again when she has already did it. It's only 21 days. Most school districts in the state in the United States allow the kids to turn 5 in September. And among those schools, they're within the 20 top schools in the United States. They don't play with 5 this day, 5 that day, because they have more important things about getting their students great education. Why are we holding kids back in a failing school system anyways? Let her move forward. Let all the kids move forward. I've actually thought of a plan for you guys. If the child completes preschool, the whole preschool year, then they should be able to move to kindergarten no matter when their birthday is.
Ms. Jones, forgive me, I don't mean to, can we pause her time, please? I don't mean to, and we don't typically go back and forth in discussion during public comment, but and this is not an effort to shame anyone in any way, shape, or form. I'm very sorry that you're experiencing these challenges. I just, for the record, want to point out that the state legislators create laws that impact CCSD. We are required to follow those laws. That is a law that was recently passed this last legislative session. So my intention is not to call out anyone for the purposes of shaming, but it is a fact. We are following state law that will essentially it makes the change and impacts your daughter.
Yes.
However, I believe Dr. Jara is already communicating with his staff to have them follow up with you directly to address your concern.
Over there. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. And so
you're welcome to complete your public comment, but I didn't want to miss an opportunity to help you close the loop so that your issues are addressed.
No, I just been making phone calls after phone calls, and I didn't know where else to go, so that's why I came here, because it just makes no sense to me. So is there a bill or something? Just talk to them? Okay, I'll yield my time.
Thank you for coming. We appreciate you. Okay. I believe I said Autumn Tampa. Are you next? Forgive me. Yes, James, I'm confused here. Mr. Bayless, followed by Adam Tampa and Melissa Brown. Welcome.
Hello, ladies of the board, Dr. Jara. So I guess this is public comment, correct? So my topic's the juvenile task force. So I would like to address the juvenile task force. Are you guys aware of a Judge William Boy, which is a great gentleman in our community, and a beloved judge that recently passed away? His name was Judge Harder. Those two judges were part of our task force that ironically gets paid out of this building. And poor Judge Harder did the right thing with my son's case, and obviously made the CCSD look bad and made the Attorney Generals look really bad. And did you know that when I go into federal court with my situation, Daniel Ibarra put those two judges on administrative leave for doing the right thing with my son, even though it made you guys look bad. But because of Daniel Ibarra doing that and made Judge Harder ironically commit Harry Carey, wouldn't that death fall on every person's hand that Daniel runs? AKA this situation here. Because if you think about it, Daniel's situation is representing you people standing on this board. Those two gentlemen were out to help my son. One was a good man. One was an okay man. But the factor is that juvenile task force, we guys know, is connected to the OJJDP. And I found out from a lot of people with that paperwork you got there, that was from my treasury buddy. Like I told you, I was doing some investigation and some digging. $9.8 million, first time EPA payment to CCSD ever. Ironically, I was wondering why it came right after my son's situation at Basic when he got beat up January 10th. Because there's only two people I know that's tied to the EPA in our system. I know one person, I'm not allowed to mention a name. And there's the principal of Basic High School, which I was hoping to see his name on those resignations, but darn it. So, situation at hand is, if you look at the paperwork you got, you'll see where the grant actually came from. It came from Colorado, and you'll see who's tied to that. And ironically, it's the same last name as some people we know and go to figure out they're related. You should probably take pictures of his son off your thing if you don't want them knowing you're a part of him. Put it out.
Mr. Bayless.
Yes?
Please, I'm going to remind you to please be appropriate and not make remarks about members and or their families. I don't want to be that.
Yes, ma'am, I
that's not considered a
apologize.
threat.
Well, it's just pertinent because, again, there's an arrest out. There's 2 warrants out for Henderson and in this building for that man's arrest. And someone told me that Assemblywoman was protecting him. Oh, look who it is.
Mr. Bayless, your time has up. Okay. Ms. Tampa, followed by Melissa Brown and Ernest Mackey.
Autumn Tampa, speaking as an individual. You know, I really do appreciate hearing the public comments of other people. Sometimes it really touches my heart, and sometimes it educates me. Sometimes it leads me to ask new questions. I feel that there is not enough time to say all the different things that we need to say. And I do believe that part of that is because of the changes that the board has made to limit the time of public comment and shorten the timeline for signing up. And then also the elimination of public comment on non-action items. I did reach out to my representative on that, and she did not respond back to me yet, so I'm hoping that she does. I also want again to mention about AB 469, which I know is now NRS something, I think 388, I can't remember to be honest. But I don't think that many people understand how that has tied the hands of Superintendent Jara, the board, and a lot of other people, the unions, et cetera. And that is just something that still really bothers me. You know, this critical shortage of teachers and support staff has been going on for years and years, but it is worse than it was before. And I think people are to a breaking point that there's a lot of straws that are breaking the camel's back. I know I kind of feel that way, but it's been 25 years, so I think that's a pretty good amount of time to put in. I wanted to talk about the campaigns that are being directed against Superintendent Jara. And while I definitely believe in free speech and activism, I'm really confused as to what the purpose of these campaigns are. But I do want to say that any employee having to work beyond their contracted hours or through their duty-free lunches and breaks should be justly compensated per their respective contracts. I am deeply concerned about the campaign that I believe is being run by CCEA because I don't understand it and some of the details don't really add up to me. Now, I know I'm not privy to confidential negotiations and such, but the campaign seems to leave out critical details and doesn't seem to give enough of a reason for me personally. I believe that many employees are very frustrated about this, and this is putting undue stress on people waiting for the new school year to start, not knowing when our bell schedules are, not knowing when our work hours are. So I really hope that there is a really strong effort to resolve these concerns and issues so that, you know, we can hopefully be a little bit more positive about what's going on. I would like to see more positive solution solving as opposed to bashing and bullying. That's what I really hope to see. So thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Tampa. Ernest Mackey, followed by Brandon Summers.
For the record again, my name is Ernest Mackey. I'm gonna sing the same old song every time I come up here. But after this meeting here today, I'm taking it a little bit further because I can see that this board, nor the superintendent, nor the assistant superintendent, nor the principals gonna do anything about it. They are promoting. So I'm here today just to inform you one more time that there will be more action from this day on. And people will be removed from this board, guarantee you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mackey. Forgive me, I missed Melissa Brown. Is Melissa still here? Melissa, and followed by Brandon Summers.
Good afternoon, board members. I am Alyssa Brown, and I am an employee of the Clark County School District as a bus driver, and I have been since 2012. And I'm concerned with the safety of the support staff and the bus driver. With the students coming to school with weapons, you know, what are you going to do to protect us from the students if they decide to, you know, have an emotional moment and use them? I don't appreciate coming to work and having my life threatened. Thank you. Have a good evening.
Thank you, Ms. Brown, for sharing your comments and for your work within the school district. Mr. Summers, are you here? I believe he's here. Okay. We're going to move on to Mr. Frazee, followed by Vicki Cradell.
Thank you, Madam President. Superintendent Jara, distinguished trustees. For the record, my name is Jim Frazee. I'm a high school teacher, and I also have the honor of being vice president of CCEA. And the number that I want to bring up today is 35,000. It is estimated with a teacher shortage that we will have 35,000 students that don't have a licensed educator in front of the room. Why does this matter? Why it's not just another year? Because study after study have shown that after parental involvement, the number one indicator of a child's success is the quality of the person in front of the room that spends hours and hours with it. And we have a situation where people are absolutely just walking out. It's not just money, it's not just one thing, it is a combination that has to be addressed. It's not a surprise that 30,000 parents of 30,000 students have taken their kids out of the Clark County school system since Superintendent Jara has been here. That this is continuing to add. I had a parent tell me that her daughter had not had a licensed educator, had a long-term sub, the last couple years. And we are absolutely burned out. We would like to know that there's help on the way. We would like to know that we have some type of agreement that we can work through this and sunlight is coming, but that just doesn't seem to be the case. I don't believe for a second that no one up there cares. I do believe you care. I do believe that you ran for the right reasons. I'm asking you to take some action. Someone asked me about teaching, and I said, it's not the teaching that's the tough part. It's all the baggage students bring in that you have to help them work through on a personal level. The emotional drain is what is so incredible and killing our occupation. I couldn't bother to put on a tie tonight, so I apologize to you. But my summer didn't start until Tuesday afternoon. I hadn't planned on working summer school, but I got desperate email from strange administrator after strange administrator that I didn't know asking me to teach. And I finally gave in. And I was told, and I was honored to do it. I was honored to do it. I taught 2 separate subjects in the same room for the last 6 weeks. And I taught those kids like I would expect my kid to be taught. I didn't dial it in. I made sure I dressed, not suit and tie, but tie appropriately, and I did the best job I can. Educators are doing that all the time. They need to know that you care. They need to know that you understand and will work to find a solution. The time for change is now. We cannot continue this. I thank you for your time.
Thank you for your service, Mr. Frazee. I just want to caution the public that we have, to caution the public, recruitment is an ongoing piece, and we, while there are numbers being thrown around about the number of vacancies that exist in the school district, it is unfair to make broad statements that are not grounded in district facts and data that we control. Okay. Ms. Crydell?
Good evening, Vicki Crydell for the record, President of NEA of Southern Nevada and a reading teacher, grades 1 to 5. I don't know many details about what's going on with contract negotiations. I'm not privy to that. But I can tell you that every teacher in CCSD is watching what is happening right now. Things have gotten progressively worse for your educators post-COVID. Our schools are less safe. The classroom educator job has become more and more burdensome, and it's getting more expensive every day to live in Las Vegas. Our PERS contributions are going up. Healthcare costs are still rising. From the perspective of many of your educators, CCSD is no longer an ideal place to work. I'm here to ask you to please do what's best for your educators. Many have come to me and told me that they're thinking about leaving CCSD very seriously. They're waiting to see what happens with the contract that's being negotiated right now. We're all hoping to get raises that are fair and equitable, but making sure this new contract is negotiated and resolved as quickly as possible is what will give your educators a reason and a desire to stay in CCSD. The optics of the current situation with negotiations are really terrible from an educator perspective. All we're trying to do is do our jobs and also do what's best for our families. What we need our employer to do is negotiate in such a way that we feel protected and respected. Thank you.
Okay. At this point in time, we don't have any additional public comment. Trustee Williams? All right. Forgive me, I skipped a step. And we're going to move on to item 5.01. That's the upcoming meeting of the Board of Trustees, which is Wednesday, August 2nd at 4 p.m. here in the boardroom. Now, colleagues, I'm looking for a motion to adjourn. Trustee Williams?
Thank you, Madam President. This time, I motion to adjourn this meeting.
Thank you, Trustee Williams. Trustee Guzman?
I second.
Thank you, Trustee Guzman. Colleagues, we have a motion by Trustee Williams, a second by Trustee Guzman. Please cast your vote. Thank you, colleagues. That motion passes 7-0. The meeting is ending at 6:02 PM. Thank you.